Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I have not only hit up some thrift shops, but also a couple of yard sales, and I have some things I wanted to share with you, so let's dive right into that. The first thing that I want to show you is something that I picked up from a yard sale, and what it is this beautiful pair of brass candle sconces. These were marked for only $1 each at the yard sale, and I could not pass them up. I like how they are on the larger side, and I did look these up by an image search and found them on Etsy a lot more than $1 each, and so I thought that this was a great deal. I just first went ahead and gave these a good clean because they were pretty dusty. They had obviously been in someone's storage for quite a while, and then I went in with some of my favorite rub and buff color, which is European gold, as most of you know who've been on this channel for a while, and I'm just giving these a good coating of that rub and buff to take some of the yellowness out of the finish. Rub and buff is super easy to use. You literally just rub it on. It doesn't have much of a smell, and so I really like using this to give my brass pieces, or pieces that aren't even metal at all, a nice like polished antique brass sort of color. And this European gold is my favorite because it's the most neutral from what I've found of the rub and buff color offerings. So after that's done, these are pretty much ready to go, and you can see the difference between just doing that one on the left is done versus the right, how much it just takes the yellow shininess out of the brass color. So I really like this product. So I'm going to be using these in my master bedroom, and I thought I would place one on either side of the artwork that we have above our bed. For me personally, I kind of like to hang things the easy way, so rather than measuring everything out beforehand, I just place one on one side or the other, and then I just try to measure the other side to match that. But the first one is kind of arbitrary and I'm just eyeballing it. I like to use my laser level, and so as you can see here, I've just lined it up to exactly match the one that I did on the right, and that way I've made myself a mark on the other side. I find that getting things exactly perfect vertically is more important for me than getting them exactly right width-wise, because your eye notices height difference a little bit more. So I just kind of eyeballed or measured with my hands for the width, and I made sure to get the height exactly right though. So I think that these are really sweet, and they add just a little bit of charm to that bedroom vignette, and I really like them with that taupe candle that I'm showing you there, which I bought from Amazon. Now, something that I always check out really closely when I'm in the thrift shop are any pottery pieces that strike my fancy. I'm kind of a sucker for collecting pottery, and I do try to be judicious with it and not collect too much or have too much clutter, but I like to look at the pieces that I do see. And in this one particular thrift store, I found quite a few pieces that were all together. It looked like someone that made pottery by hand or had inherited a collection of it had donated a lot of it, and so I found some interesting pieces. These were marked at $9.99 that you see there, as well as this blue bowl. They had marked it at $9.99, so the store was marking them up a little bit since they were handmade pottery. That one as well was $9.99, and then this piece with this 5-part candle holder they had marked at $14.99. Another one that is marked at $14.99 here, and so I was just kind of browsing over these, thinking that I would probably leave most of them behind. I didn't really find any that I loved until I came to this bowl, and I thought that the really striking modern shape of this bowl was kind of perfect for what I was looking for, just a really interesting piece. And so I went ahead and brought that one home, and it looked like it was made in the 1980s, which is kind of cool. It was marked for $12.99, which I thought was a decent price for such a striking piece. Again, I really like the sharp angles of this one, and that was kind of what sold me on it. I'm not sure if I would have purchased it if it were just a normal kind of rounded bowl. Another reason I went ahead and picked it up is because there was a second one that was kind of similar, and I knew that I could be able to style these together. They had this one marked for $11.99, and again you can see $19.85 on the bottom. So again, I knew I wanted to style these two pieces together, and so I first just placed the larger bowl on a stack of books, and this is in the hutch in our dining area, and then I just used some packing paper that was in a package I received as a filler to kind of prop up the second bowl and make it sit nicely kind of above this one. If I just simply put it down on the bottom, it wasn't really visible, so I just propped it up with some paper like that so that it would make more of a statement as a set of two. I think that these look really pretty together and definitely bring a lot of character to this vase. So even though they were marked at a little more than I usually like to pay for that sort of thing, since they were handmade pottery with signatures from the 80s, I thought that they were a pretty good deal for $12.99 and $11.99, and I'm really happy with them. Now, while I might have paid a little more than I wanted to for those two pieces, this next piece was really dirt cheap. So this little vase with this ruffle top, I really fell in love with the shape, although the red color is not for me. And so I figured for only 99 cents, which is what they price their small size vases at, and they counted this as a small, it was perfect to pick up as a little project piece. And so I'm just going to very simply give this one a coat of paint to change the color. I'm just going in with this color, which is called Accessible Beige by Sharon Williams. This is the same color that we have our cabinets painted, just FYI, and also the door that's across from me in this shot, the pantry door, that is Accessible Beige once it has dried. And so always remember that paint will dry a little bit darker than the color it initially appears to be when you're first putting it on, as you can kind of see there between the base and the door. So just a simple coat of paint on this one will make a huge difference and make it fit right into my decor. Now, spray painting this would have been a lot faster, admittedly, but I didn't really have a spray paint in a color that I particularly wanted, and so to save on the cost of buying yet another spray paint, I'm just going in with a brush. This vase reminded me of these pieces that I have been seeing, that one in McGee & Co. In particular, I really love the ruffle top of those, but this one was only 99 cents for such a similar look. So after one quick coat of clear top coat to protect a little more, I am just going to be styling this over here on that same hutch, and I'm just adding some of these Cosmo flowers. I picked up some of these from Michael's new, and then I ended up finding a bundle of them at the thrift shop as well, so they are partly thrifted and partly new. I think that these are so pretty, and they're one of the more realistic types of stems that I have found. Maybe something about the stems with all the little offshoots, but I think that they look quite realistic even up close, and so I just love them, and I think that they look really darling in this sweet little vase. Another area of the thrift shop that I always like to pay close attention to are the baskets and the other wovens. I think that you can find some really good deals in that section. For instance, this little set of 4 coasters in this little caddy was only $2.50. I thought that was really cute. I didn't need it, but just any sort of baskets, also remember that you can cut the handles off of them pretty easily if they're not something that you need with the handle. Don't forget that you can just cut those off. I ended up finding this basket in one section of Goodwill, and it cost $5.99. I really like the shape of it, kind of the open weave of it, and also those little handles with the wrapping on them. I thought that it was really nice. So again, $5.99. And I'm thinking there are multiple different things I could do with this one. It's a nice piece, and I think that you could use it in multiple different rooms of the house. And so first I'm going to show you my first idea, which was if you have some sort of a hutch or maybe space in your kitchen, dining room, somewhere like that, maybe you could use something like this for storing your cloth napkins. I have quite a collection, as most of you know, and so I thought it might be kind of fun to have them in something pretty out on top where you could just simply grab them, maybe remind yourself to go ahead and use them if they're visible like this. But I know that not everyone will have a huge cloth napkin collection like me, but that was just one thought. Another thing that you could do is use this for almost any sort of linen. I could see this being really pretty in a guest bathroom or somewhere like that where you could store some extra towels, maybe like these kind of waffle weave towels that I have here for my guest room. I made these just simply by cutting down a cotton shower curtain, and so they're cotton towels now rather than a shower curtain. You could also use them inside of a linen closet or something like that, even behind closed doors. For such a low cost, why not enhance that space, even though it's a little superfluous? So here I've got some tablecloths together. Maybe inside of your linen closet you could group together some items in a pretty basket just to make it that much more special. And let's turn our attention to a subscriber score as well. And I want to put the spotlight on Melinda L. She's from Wisconsin. She said the thrift stores in her areas aren't that great, but she does like to go to estate sales. And so she found this beautiful Ralph Lauren covered dish, this beautiful floral blue dish, and it was only $6. And so that's a great price already, but then she flipped it over when she was washing it later at home and she saw the $180 price tag on the bottom, just confirming what a great deal that was. Love this one, Melinda. Thanks for sending that in. Well, I hope that either my or Melinda's finds have inspired you to head out to your local secondhand shops and see what you can find for a lot less than retail as well. As always, I would ask that you hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, leave me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed, and hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more of these in your feed. Hope that everyone listening has a fantastic week, and I will see you at the next video.